to the silent or vibrate position. The administrator will proceed with the roll call.
Mr. Dolphin? Here. Mr. Tupper?
Here.
Ms. Mandel?
Here.
Mr. Stigmeyer?
Here.
Ms. James?
Here.
Mr. Waits?
Here.
And Mr. Frost.
I will briefly review the meeting format. Applicants with requests before Planning Commission are allotted a presentation time of 10 minutes. This time shall include, but is not limited to, an overview of the project, case history, and any pertinent meetings held regarding the project. This time also includes all persons presenting information on behalf of the applicant, such as attorneys, engineers, and architects. This time limit does not include any questions asked by Planning Commission or staff regarding the request. Members of the general public are given the opportunity to address their concerns in intervals of 2 minutes. The administrator has a timer and will make presenters aware of when their time has expired. The Planning Commission reserves the right to amend these procedures on a case-by-case basis. Consent agenda. The Planning Commission uses the consent agenda to approve non-controversial or routine matters by single motion and vote. Examples of such items include approval of site plans, annexations, and street names. If a member of the Planning Commission or general public would like to discuss an item on the consent agenda, this item is removed from the consent agenda and is considered during the meeting. The Planning Commission then approves of the remaining consent agenda items. The administrator will read the consent agenda.
On tonight's consent agenda, you have an annexation of 7347 Garnersbury Road with an assignment of interim land use and interim zoning map amendment. You also have a street name request for naming streets within the paddocks at Wood Creek Farms subdivision, which is Bustling Branch Lane, Lace Carroll Lane, Common Creek Way, Ray Cannon Court, and Cedar Ledge Drive. And a second street name request also within Wood Creek Farms at the Stables for street names of Woodland Rest Lane, Sovereign Grace Drive, and Peaceful Pines Way, and as well as the approval of the November 4th minutes.
Thank you. Do any commission members or guests today wish to have items on the consent agenda removed and placed on the regular agenda? If not, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second? All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say by no. Motion passes.
Thank you.
We will now proceed with the regular agenda.
Tonight's regular agenda, the first item on the agenda is the site plan review of the 200 and 300 blocks of Bull Street, the 1,314 blocks of Whaley Street, and Mr. Chambers is here with any questions that you may have, and I believe the applicant is here as well.
Great. Well, I would like to remind everybody when they come forward to please state their name clearly before speaking.
All right, this is the U of SC Campus Village Development, and this project is comprised of 7 parcels, approximately 12.47 acres, which are bounded by the Norfolk Southern Railroad, east by the 200 and 300 blocks of Bull Street, south by the 1,300 and 1,400 blocks of Whaley Street, and on the west by the Norfolk Southern Railroad. All of the properties in question are Zone C1. The applicant is proposing to construct a 4-building public dormitory, which will contain approximately 560 units and a total of 808 beds. Unit sizes will vary between 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 beds. On the southwest of the property, it will contain a transportation hub, which is a short-term parking garage that will contain 237 parking spaces and 24 parking spaces for scooters. There's also going to be space allocated for bicycles. The majority of the parking for this project, long-term parking, will be provided in various lots throughout the campus, and they've provided a site plan to show those various different parking lots. The applicant is also proposing to implement sidewalk improvements, landscaping, and street lighting adjacent to the development, as well as they'll be improving a railroad crossing gate that will be provided at the intersection of Bull and Marion Streets. There are several comments throughout the case summary. However, from a staff perspective, the site plan largely meets staff comments.
Great. Does anybody have any questions for staff? The applicant is here. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant?
Just want to make sure that the applicant is aware of staff comments, as there may be a motion to approve it contingent on staff comments being included. So just want to make sure that that's all clear.
My name is Derek Gruner. I'm the university architect with the University of South Carolina, and I've reviewed the staff comments and will continue to work and meet the requirements of those requirements and those comments if you're to receive approval today. Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? Are there any members of the public that would like to speak?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the site plan for the USC Campus Village as outlined in the request.
Can I get a second?
With staff conditions, excuse me.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed signify by no. Motion passes.
Next on the agenda, we have a rezoning of 3915 Divine Street. It is currently zoned RG2, and that is a residential district, and the request is to go to Office and Institutional District C1. And I believe the applicant is here as well, if you have any questions of the applicant or the zoning administrator.
Are there any questions for staff? The applicant is present. Are there any questions for the applicant?
I guess there was some discussion of whether or not the applicant had met with or discussed this with the neighborhood, and I just would like to hear that.
Please state your name.
John Whitaker. I had a good chance to knock on some doors and meet most of the neighbors directly surrounding the property, and then I've talked with the neighborhood association presidents and some other folks right in that area. Generally, they had some questions about the traffic that might come from a small office like mine, and the signage. But otherwise, I think positive feedback.
And you actually plan to house your office, the Edward Jones, in that facility?
I do. With Edward Jones, it's a small office, and I've been in Southeast Columbia for 13 years and just hoping to move a little bit more central to Columbia. But yeah, my hope is to be there for 30 years.
And you said you met with the Patio Home Association right next door?
Yes.
Okay.
Are there any other?
I was just going to say, my understanding is that, so the property has been a rental for, 15 years or so, and I think when I explained to most people that, my hope is small office, 2 people there 90% of the time, most people realized it'd be, less traffic and pretty favorable.
You will use existing structure, or you go?
Existing structure.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions?
I'd be interested in seeing if there's anybody from the neighborhood, but not
Thank
for
you.
the
Appreciate it.
applicant.
Are there any members of the public that would like to speak? With that, are there any other discussion? Can I get a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the zoning map amendment for 3915 Divine Street.
Can I get a
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. Motion passes.
Thank you. The final item on your agenda this evening is the rezoning of 0.66 acres of Southside of Hampton Street. And this is a request to rezone the eastern portion of the parcel from the planned unit development residential district with the city center design development overlay on it to the office institutional district to C1 and to maintain that city center overlay. I believe in this case, we also, if you have any questions for staff or for the applicant, I believe both are here.
Are there any questions for staff? Applicant is present. Any questions for the applicant?
I think I'd be curious to hear from the applicant, maybe just to.
Would the applicant please?
Oh, he's not, I'm sorry, the applicant's not here.
Any other questions for staff?
Curious if anybody else has anything to say on this one, but
I don't believe we've received any comments from the public, and other than that, with it being an existing PUD, the change in zoning is probably more conforming.
Are there any members of the public that would like to speak? If not, is there any other discussion? Can I get a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the zoning map amendment for the .66 acres at Hampton, on Hampton Street.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed signify by no. Motion passes.
Well, I don't believe we have any other business, so
Okay. Can I get a motion to end planning commission?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor by signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Meeting is adjourned.
Great job,
Good deal.